A lot of people thought anarchists were fools. I finished high school in 1924, and even during my girlhood, when the fiercest wing of anarchists still believed in propaganda by deed and threw bombs and shot at world leaders, people thought they did it out of a bloody kind of sappiness, a laughable naivete. All this laughing, I came to think, ignored the number of things a person could be a fool for in this life. A fool for love, a fool for Christ, a fool for admiration. I had friends who were all of these, as it turned out, but I took my own route. I wasn't born into anarchism. I read myself into it. Someone handed me a pamphlet in the street, and that was the beginning. And my cousin Joe was an influence. Joe was a third cousin, hardly related at all. But in our teen years, we were both enlisted in my mother's brief attempt to distribute used clothes to the poor in our church. Musty woolen topcoats, faded school pinafores, piles and piles of men's hats. The problem was, my mother was afraid of the people who showed up for the clothes. We stood behind a table in the dank church basement while she pled for an orderly line and whispered at me not to touch the children. On the other side, Joe was muttering to me about why we had these extra goods, and they didn't. I was born in India, in the city of Madras, in the state of Tamil Nadu, when my father was a missionary for the Congregationalist Church. We went home to Philadelphia when I was 6, but I had memories. My father left the mission in a state of great disillusion, embittered by ecclesiastical infighting in a country so filled with suffering. In America, I was mocked for the way my speech sounded Indian and was hounded in school by a group of bullying girls. In my adult life, when my friends heard I came from a missionary family, they teased me about how I naturally came from a long line of zealots, didn't I? Which was how I liked to view it. Actually, the zealotry had drained by the time I was growing up. My father was just another bald, tired minister who mumbled through the services and didn't really want to look anyone in the eye. My mother was more ardent, more desperate. I hated the unbearable ladies' aid meetings in our living room and the tedious Sunday school with my poor mother teaching improbable platitudes. In high school, I was infamous for cynical jokes about the Virgin Mary. Only Joe was worse in the school auditorium. He passed me notes parodying the psalm read in assembly. He that hath clean hands and a pure heart and always washes with boraxo. When I was reading the books Joe lent me, I felt a kind of joyous relief once I got past the hard parts. What I loved in anarchism from the first was the obvious truth in it. People had gotten it all wrong to expect justice from any state. Power never protected the weak. It only protected itself. Tyranny was built into the system. The clarity of this argument was pretty stunning, I thought, and so was its insistence that this didn't have to continue, despite its long human history.